Hello and welcome to Merryweather Living. My name is Gabriella and I'm so glad to have you here. I sat down to knit a couple of rounds on my current main project of the moment, and I thought I'd just chat with you a little bit as I knit. I'm knitting on my rug sweater, which is the rug sweater pattern by the designer Junko Automoto, and yeah, I've been just really struggling with the reality that autumn is coming. Whether I like it or not, the season is changing. Here in the northern hemisphere, it's getting cooler, and I feel the equinox approaching. And I have this kind of little goal to have this sweater finished before the equinox, before we officially turn the leaf and turn to autumn. So I'm just hoping that I get this project finished. I'm pretty close because this is a very quick knit and I think I'll have this sleeve finished in a couple of days. But this year has been so difficult for me. I've been so resistant to autumn coming, so resistant to letting go of summer, which is strange for me because it's never been that way before. I don't know why. I've always been so eager and excited to enter into the cooler months, and especially as a knitter, as someone who really enjoys the fiber arts, I think often it gives a lot of excitement for the cooler months because I feel like it means more knitting weather, knitwear weather, and knitting weather. Time to sit and be cozied up with a warm woolly project or to put on your woolens. It's actually usually a time which is just so full of excitement, but this year it's just been different for me. I don't know what it is. I am just so resistant. So to combat that resistance, I've started to dream about my next projects and my autumn projects. And I have a couple of little projects that I've saved in my queue, kind of have just waiting for me right now that I'm really excited about and that are giving me kind of like the silver lining to this cloud and dark, stormy vibe that I'm getting from autumn. It's so silly. I feel really silly saying it because actually it's a wonderful time. Autumn's wonderful, but I don't know what it is. This year has been so hard for me. But these projects are giving me excitement and joy and hope. They're just making it seem like something that I really am looking forward to. Getting some new creative energy, working on some new techniques, and then at the end having a cozy new piece of clothing or a new gift that I hand knit myself. So I have about 5 projects that I want to share with you, ideas and projects I'm really excited about. Maybe you'll be inspired by some of them because they're just so beautiful. I mean, there's specifically 2 that I'm really, really, really excited about, and a couple of other ones which are just plans and dreams and more personal projects that I'm really looking forward to. So the first project that I am excited to cast on, which I'm planning on casting on the moment that I cast this off, is the Bifurca Vest by Teti Lutsak. It is such a stunning, stunning pattern, and it looks like the perfect autumn knit. I saw it and I immediately fell in love. It has such a beautiful heritage, gorgeous aesthetic. It's so beautiful. The design is so unique. It has a very unique construction, and it's not a sweater and it's not a traditional vest either. It looks so different and unique. It has this cool construction where it's kind of like a v-neck, and I saw a kind of schematic, I think, as I was looking at the pattern, and it just looked like a totally different construction than I've ever knit before. So this is a really exciting pattern for me because I think it's the perfect amount of interest as well as being, a comfort knit because it's quick. I think it's pretty quick. It's just a vest, not a full garment. It also has some color work involved in these beautiful floral motifs. I'm not sure if it's like color work in what way. I think it may be intarsia, which I've never done before, so for me that's a completely new experience. But I saw it and I just knew I want to knit this so much. I think it's so beautiful. And the yarn I'm going to use for it, I think I already have. I'm going to try to take some stash yarn that I have and knit this pattern up in that because it doesn't take a huge amount of yarn because it is a little vest. It just looks so beautiful, and I saw it styled over dresses. I saw some of the test knits. And I mean, there's just so many ways you could style this little vest, and I have only one knitted vest. It was I forget exactly which pattern, but it was a vest pattern by My Favorite Things, which I loved knitting up. Very classic, kind of grandpa style vest that I knit up a couple of years ago, and I've gotten a lot of wear out of that vest. I really loved it. But this design, this Bifurca Vest, is a little bit more feminine, actually a lot more feminine, and just beautiful, and I think is going to be the perfect knit. I also think that once it's finished, I'll get a lot of wear out of it because it's just a nice little layering piece for cooler days outdoors, or just to put on indoors on cooler days. You know, we're trying still to just not turn the heater up so high, so it's nice to have a couple of woolly layers to put on, and I think a vest is perfect because it really is for me, a perfect temperature regulator. I'm also all day long doing things with my hands and my arms, and I'm taking care of children, and I'm cooking, and I'm cleaning, and I'm doing handcrafts and doing different projects. And so having long sleeves with like a knitted fabric or wool is not super practical because it just sometimes gets in the way. So a vest is perfect for that. I remember, actually, this is a little off topic, but I remember seeing Alex of Ancestral Craft speaking about how she's a gardener, and speaking about how she was knitting a sweater. I think it was out of her own hand spun. I'm pretty sure it is, because she spins and makes the most beautiful pieces with her own hand spun. And she was knitting a sweater, I think, that was a little bit like a 3/4 length sleeve so that it wouldn't get in the way while she was gardening. And I remember her talking about how she would wear gloves, and there was like this certain length that she knew to knit it that would be really practical for her. And I loved that idea because I think, there's this functionality to knitwear that sometimes is lost in our current kind of knit trends sometimes. I love beautiful things, but I think that we can combine beauty and function a lot of the time. And this just seems like the perfect combination of beauty and function for my personal wardrobe needs and daily life needs. And yeah, it really is just such a stunning, gorgeous pattern. I also think that unique construction adds so much visual interest. My wardrobe is pretty simple. I like to keep it pretty simple and minimal, especially in the wintertime. And it can get quite boring because I often wear like black turtlenecks and like long sleeve tops that are just plain and simple, and jeans or skirts. And having a little vest like that just seems like it would be the cutest, prettiest accessory, little piece to just elevate any outfit while keeping it really functional. So I'm really looking forward to that pattern, and I'm really not good at knitting and chatting, it seems. But I'm really looking forward to knitting that project. I can't wait to cast it on. Like I said, I already have the yarn chosen, and we'll see how it works out. I don't know if I'm going to knit a swatch or not. I might just dive right into the pattern and see what happens. I imagine that a vest like that could be pretty forgiving because, I don't know, it kind of depends. If it were too tight, I wouldn't want it to be too tight. I also don't want it to be too loose, so maybe I probably should knit a swatch, but yeah, we'll see what I do with that. I can't wait to share with you that process though, just see where it goes. But that's my I'm so excited about project. And right now in general, I'm really trying to work on knitting through my little stash, knitting with what I have, using what I have, being a little bit, creative and using what I have, also not perfectly, like, if I have some, I think that the Bifurca Vest specifically is knit with DK weight yarn. I'm not sure, but I think, actually the yarn I'm planning on using is fingering weight. I'm hoping to knit double fingering weight to kind of make a DK gauge. It's pretty light fingering, so we'll see if that works and how that works. I probably will have to knit a swatch now that I say that to you and confess it to you. But I'm just really liking the idea of not consuming right away when I see a new pattern, but rather using what I have and enjoying what I have and making the most before I, consume new yarn, although I'm really excited about getting new yarn. I have enough and I just want to use what I have. So all the patterns that I'm going to mention are using stash yarn that I have already, and they're patterns and projects that I'm really excited are sparking so much joy and inspiration, because sometimes for the joy and spark and inspiration spark, I kind of want to get new yarn. So it's nice to find projects that give that to me while I can also use what I have, if that makes sense. So the next project I am excited about is the Folklore top, which is a pattern and a design by Fabel Knitwear. It's a beautiful little top, and it's also one that I'm really excited about because I get to use stash yarn as well. It takes lace weight yarn, and I have a couple of skeins kind of just randomly of some beautiful dark gray mohair silk, and one little skein of just lace weight Malabrigo lace yarn that matches, kind of almost perfectly color matches this dark gray mohair silk that I have. So I am hoping to knit that up as well this autumn. Because it was just the perfect project for this yarn, and I want to use this yarn up. I feel like it could just sit there and languish forever in my stash, and I'd rather have it knit up in a piece that I'll get a lot of wear out and really enjoy. And I think this Folklore top is so beautiful. I'm saying, just a little caveat for this project and for my future self. I want to knit up the lace weight yarn, but there is an alternative project that I may switch out for rather than the Folklore top. Although I love the Folklore top, and I think, like I said, I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. I saw this picture on Pinterest. I'll try to share it here and credit properly where it should be credited. I don't know what it was. I think it was just a fashion picture. It wasn't a knitting pattern, but it was just these sleeves, these kind of like bell sleeves in my mind, of this very loose gauged mohair, just kind of knit sleeves. And I really like the idea of just knitting these sleeves as kind of like a little bolero piece, if you can kind of understand. I'm going to put the photo so you can see what it looks like. But just knitting a pair of long sleeves to put over and wear with a black top, a short sleeve or a long sleeve top, I think would be such a cool and unique accessory. I really just like the look. I think it's really fun, and I think my dark gray yarn would look really good with this because, like I said, I wear a lot of black tops and long sleeves shirts and turtlenecks in the winter and in the autumn. And so having just an extra layer, just kind of like the vest to elevate the outfit, I think this would be really cool too. So yeah, I'm kind of letting myself switch it up. I have those two choices with this yarn, and we'll see which one I choose. I am probably going to end up with the Folklore top, but when I'm finished with the Bifurca Vest, if I'm more inspired to knit a couple of sleeves, maybe I'll just do that. Like I said, it's not a knitting pattern, so I'll either have to find one, or probably more likely I'll just knit them up like as sleeves. I think two kind of tubes of sleeves, maybe adding some increases to make it more these kind of like dramatic ends, or maybe just knitting it straight. I don't know. I remember the picture I saw. It was definitely a loose gauge with a lot of ease, so I don't think it will be that difficult to just knit up myself without a pattern. But that's my second kind of autumn project, and the second kind of piece that I'm really dreaming about and would be really excited to knit up and to have in my wardrobe. That's definitely for some reason more of a product knit in my mind than the Bifurca Vest, which the Bifurca Vest just seems like such a process knit for me, as well as a product knit. Like, I want to wear it, like I said, so much, but I'm just so in love with it right now, and I'm dreaming about it, and I'm dreaming about the process just as much, if not more, than the product. I think it's been a while since I've knit a really completely new to me construction and tried a completely new to me technique, and this pattern seems to contain both of those things. So yeah, I'm really excited about those 2 or 3 ideas. And then the next autumn knit that I'm really looking forward to knitting, and that I think is kind of a more practical knit, but one that I'm still looking forward to nonetheless, is a pair of mittens, a pair of gift mittens. I have so much yarn that I could use to knit up like a pair of mittens. I have little skeins of worsted weight yarn and fingering weight that I think would make the most stunning pair of mittens. And I, a couple of years ago, knit up for my husband a pair of mittens out of some worsted weight yarn, held double with some mohair silk. And I just loved the results. They were the most fluffy, soft, cozy, wonderful mittens, and I still love them so much, and I'm always jealous of them. And he hardly wears them because he's not really a mitten person, but when it gets very, very cold, he does put them on, and he does appreciate them. But I would really love to knit another pair of those, because I think I have some random mohair silk, and definitely some worsted weight yarn from past sweater projects, and I would just really love to knit up a pair of mittens and hopefully gift them to someone. I'm thinking my mother or my grandmother, because it's been such a long time since I've knit anything for my mother or my grandmother, any of my grandmothers. I think those hand knit gifts are so appreciated by grandmothers and by my mom too. So I think that would be really special to knit up a pair and send it to the States for Christmas, or just as a gift. It doesn't have to be a big Christmas gift or anything, but I think that would be really fun and really special. And I think mittens, I don't know what it is about mittens themselves, but the shape of mittens and the whole kind of vibe of a little mitten is so cozy and sweet and lovely. I just love mittens. I think they're just so cute. And so I think knitting them up will make me really excited and for the cooler months and enjoy being in the cooler months and just, yeah, and also knitting them as a gift will be something I think I'd really enjoy too, because I used to really not be a gift knitter. I still am not the hugest gift knitter ever. There are some people who I just admire for the number of gifts that they knit, and I hope to one day be like that. I really aspire to that because I think it's wonderful, but I end up being pretty selfish. But I do think it's so rewarding to give knitted objects as gifts. It's just an opportunity to sit and mindfully kind of pray for or bless the person that you're knitting as you knit, just thinking about them and knitting for them and giving them that piece of your time. It's just so special and so wonderful. And I know I deeply appreciate handmade gifts of any kind. I think handmade gifts are just so special, and so yeah, I love to give that to the people I love. Now, I am a pretty slow knitter, and I am a pretty monogamous knitter. I like to keep just a couple of projects on the needles at all times. So we'll see how much I really accomplish in the autumn season. But I am hoping to finish the Bifurca Vest in that time, and a pair of mittens, and maybe even my Mohair project. I'm hoping to finish those 3. But the last 2 projects I have to share with you, and the last 2 projects that I'm really excited about and dreaming about and have been kind of like just really itching to cast on actually, are really projects I'm more looking forward to casting on in autumn rather than having finished completely in autumn. I like to keep it open-ended. It doesn't have to be that the project's just contained in this season, but there are 2 projects that I really want to integrate into my autumn knitting practice and knitting time. And yeah, the first one is definitely a little girl sweater, a little project for my daughter Esmeralda, I think, or Vivian. I haven't decided, or both. Hopefully I get to knit a sweater for both of them in the next few months, but in autumn specifically, I think I'll cast one on for Esmeralda because Vivian has so many passed down from Esmeralda that, you know, I think she's needing a new one as she grows. She's growing out of her clothes so much right now. It feels like she's just has had a huge growth spurt. So I'm hoping to cast on a little girl sweater. And I also want to use stash yarn for that. I have quite a bit of yarn that, you know, I'm torn as to what to use because I have some beautiful fingering weight yarn, beautiful sock yarn. Then I also have some bulkier yarn and some worsted weight yarn that I think would make a very adorable sweater. So yeah, we'll see what I do with that. But I definitely, at the end of kind of autumn, as we enter into the cooler, maybe at the end of November, I want to cast on a sweater for her and have it on the needles as we go into the heavier part of winter, the cooler part of winter. It's just a little project, and little girl sweaters knit up so much. Children's sweaters, children garments are just so fun after you've knit adult garments, I feel like, because they're just so little and they just knit up so quickly and they're so cute. And yeah, so I have that as kind of I want to cast on in this season, just a project, a sweater project for my children, probably for Esmeralda. But yeah, I have a couple of patterns in mind. I want to knit the flax sweater, but I think it's Tin Can Knits. I hope I'm right. But it's a huge, very well-known pattern. You probably have seen it if you have been on Ravelry or on Instagram. It's very like loved, and it's a free pattern. I knit up the flax light for her when she was tiny, and she got so much wear out of that pattern, out of that sweater, and I omitted the garter ridges on the arms. I just made it completely stockinette and used some really fun, colorful hand-dyed yarn. And I love that knit, and I love that project. So I kind of like, I'm considering casting on one of those as kind of a fun, mindless project in the autumn. You know, maybe after I finish knitting a pair of socks, casting that on as my kind of mindless stockinette project. We'll see if it's that one, or maybe a bulkier weight sweater. I saw a couple of patterns from Drops. I'll put it here. I forget the name of it. I think it's the leaf sweater or something. And the pattern itself is knit out of Drops Alaska, which is a heavier Aran weight yarn, I think. And I think this pattern is so cute and would be such a fun knit, and probably knits up so quickly and would just be adorable for a little girl. So yeah, or a little child, you know, it doesn't have to be a little girl. I just think of my children. So yeah, that's one that I would also consider casting on. I think I've just got to wait and see when I get to that point after finishing a project or two, and as we get to the end of autumn, which one I feel more like casting on, which one speaks to me more, and probably also as I get to that stage, I'll see really more practically what she needs and what she needs going into, you know, December, January, February, and springtime, what she get more wear out of, and yeah, I'm excited to see and then to cast it on too. That'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my 4th project. And the last project that I'm so excited to cast on and work on in the autumn is a little patchwork square, mitered square blanket. I already have one on the needles. It's been on the needles for years and years. It's not very big. I know some people have these like patchwork blankets or mitered square blankets that are just have been, you know, in progress for literally years and are huge and giant. Very, very small progress. And I literally started it probably like 10 years ago. But I want to make progress on it this next autumn, and I think a mitered square blanket is such a cozy project. It really is, and it's fun to just knit a square here and there. And it's been kind of put away, and I think that if I pull it out and put it somewhere that I see it, put it somewhere accessible, maybe it would be a project that I'd get back into working on regularly and just knitting a square here, a square there, and just kind of putting a couple squares on, maybe one a week or a couple of months, and just watching it grow a little bit. And I think this autumn is a perfect time to do that, to integrate that into my kind of knitting routine, just to see it grow. And I think also like a blanket, a knitted woolly blanket, is something that is so autumnal and so just wonderful and fits the cooler months so well to kind of just be knitting on a blanket. Hopefully when it gets big enough, I can kind of have it over my lap and have it keep me warm as I knit. And often the little scrap yarns that I use come from other projects, so they kind of carry with them memories of other projects that I knit and other garments or other little accessories that I either gifted or enjoyed wearing or have enjoyed seeing my children wearing. So that will be one that I really will enjoy as well, and I'm planning on casting that on, or you know, continuing adding a square really soon, in the next week or so, and just hopefully maybe doing, you know, a little here and a little there through the autumn season. But mindfully beginning again and really thinking of it as a project to help me transition into autumn and enjoy autumn, kind of just as an extra treat. Like I said, it's just been so hard for me to let go of the summertime, but I'm really excited about that. And then hopefully at the end of that blanket project, I'm hoping to give it to Vivian, because Esmeralda has a blanket, kind of a blanket in her bed that she likes to cuddle with, and I just think Vivian doesn't have that. Vivian has like a little baby, a little soft baby that she, with like, it's a little wool, it's like sheep's wool, and it's just beautiful. But I don't know, she doesn't have a blanket, and for some reason I just think it would be so cute to give her a special blanket, like a little patchwork knit cozy memories blanket for her own personal use and cozy comfort in her bed. I didn't grow up with really like stuffed animals or like blankies in bed. That wasn't really a thing from my mom. We definitely just didn't have that, and for some reason I think it's such a sweet and lovely childhood nostalgic thing to have like just cozy little blankets and stuff. So I would love to give one to Vivian and have it be something that's handmade, something that's just made with love, and then really made for her intentionally with love, even though, like I said, it's been on the needles for like probably 10 years, not even kidding, literally 10 years I think. So yeah, but I would love her to have that, and so I'm hoping to knit that up and then maybe really finish it in the next 6 months or year, really with no pressure, like I said, just knitting a square a week or a couple a month, but working up to where it really is finished and not having it as an endless project. I do like the idea of having an ongoing, really lovely, big scrappy blanket, but this one I want to have finished. I remember seeing this gorgeous Beekeepers quilt, I think it's called. I forget the name of the designer, which is such a shame, because she was the first knitwear designer that I really just fell in love with her work. You probably have seen her. If you haven't before, you have to check out her designs. They're just so precious and cute. When I was like 16 or 17 and I started to knit, I discovered her designs and I loved them. I knit up hats by her and all kinds of things, and just really enjoyed her whimsical, lovely fairy tale designs. And she has this Beekeepers quilt, which is like, there's these little kind of octagons shapes, lots of miniature octagons, and I think they're stuffed with, you know, stuffing. I think I remember her using polyfill, but you could use, you know, wool or scrap yarn or whatever you wanted to fill the little, you know, pieces with. And then it's just this fluffy, delightful blanket. And I think that I would want to maybe one day start one of those. It just seems like such a big project because the little octagons are tiny, tiny. So it will take a lot to get a blanket. But maybe that's all the better, because then you really have an ongoing project for just ages and years, and you can just knit up a little octagon as you finish a pair of socks or as you just would like to. Yeah, that's a project I maybe would one day like to cast on. So that's your little bonus pattern if you want to like see a project that might interest you for the upcoming season, or you're looking for a patchwork project. I haven't seen many people knit that pattern. You know, as far as like, I haven't seen many podcasters or knitters online knitting that pattern lately. I'm sure it's very popular and I'm sure many people have knit it. But it's also a very old pattern compared to a lot of others. So, but yeah, I would like, actually now that I say it, I really start to like, I just imagine having a basket with your little octagon, like little shapes in there, or I don't even know if they're octagons, these little like shapes for the beekeeper quilt, and all your little scrap yarn. Oh, it would be so cute. I think that would be such a cute project. Now I really want to actually add that to my list, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe if I finish that little mitered square Cozy Memories blanket, that could be my next scrappy blanket project that just goes on endlessly. If you have a scrappy project, like a scrappy blanket or a patchwork blanket or anything like that, or maybe a striped blanket that you work on consistently over time, I'd love to hear about it. Is there a specific pattern you like? I would love to hear if you have a scrappy project like that. I think those are just so much fun. And I've seen so many people's inspiration with scrappy projects lately, so I'd love to hear what yours are. Anyway, it's now time for me to add some color work to the sleeve, so I've got to put it to the side because I don't have that yarn with me. But I'm so glad that you've joined me for this little knit and chat. It's been so much fun to just share with you, and I hope that you are not as resistant to the changing season as I am. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, of course, that you're excited to enter into the warmer weather as we go into the cooler. I am jealous. No, just kidding. But I really hope that you are doing well and that you are full of inspiration for this next season. I love to hear what you're knitting up as you go into autumn or spring. If there's any specific project that you're just itching to cast on, I'd love to hear about it. If you would like to find me, you can follow me on Instagram at merryweatherliving, and you can find me on merryweatherliving.com, and you can also join me on my newsletter, the Merryweather Journal, and subscribe there. I'll leave the link below. If you subscribe to the Merryweather Journal following this link, you'll also get a 15% discount on my latest knitwear design pattern, which is the Moon River socks. So please subscribe and join me. I just send a little newsletter, a little journal once a month where I share projects and poetry and all kinds of artful living inspiration. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next time for more knitting chat and fiber textile creative inspiration. Take care. Bye.